Unanimously approved by Congress and signed by President Obama, the National Alzheimer's Project Act, known as NAPA, became public law 11-375 on January 4th, 2011. Hi, I'm Jason Martinez. Today, an estimated 5.4 million people suffer from Alzheimer's, and nearly 11 million family caregivers dare to hope that the NAPA law will ease their daily plight and ultimately lead to a cure. Alzheimer's is a fatal disease of the brain that causes problems with memory, thinking, and behavior. The disease costs the U.S. $183 billion a year, but if not stopped, this disease will cost $1.1 trillion by the year 2050. We've seen great advances against cancer, heart disease, and HIV when society, government, and industry make significant commitments to fight those diseases. It is now time for that commitment to be made to end Alzheimer's. The Southeast Florida chapter of the Alzheimer's Association is hosting this NAPA input session, or town hall meeting, to present the views and perspectives of the public, individuals with the disease, caregivers, and professionals from the Alzheimer's community on what a national Alzheimer's plan should include. This meeting gives citizens the opportunity to educate their U.S. congressmen about the realities of living with Alzheimer's disease as this law moves into action. Welcome to one of the 100 nationwide National Alzheimer's Project Act input sessions. Again, I'm your host, Jason Martinez, news anchor at WPLG TV in the Miami-Fort Lauderdale market, a market that is just a portion of the service area of the Southeast Florida chapter. I mention that because this town hall meeting represents a vast 7-county community, both in person and online. This traditional style meeting is now fortified by emails, Facebook, Twitter, and by your video recordings on YouTube. You'll see and hear just a few of those comments, but all will be collected and sent with this recording to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services as part of a major report submitted by Alzheimer's Association. This report will list every input session by location, as well as members of Congress and other prominent participants. As a person whose family has been touched by Alzheimer's, I thank all of you for coming here and taking the time to learn about the realities of living with Alzheimer's. In the studio today, we're pleased to have Yovi Alvarez, congressional aide to U.S. Representative the Honorable Mario Diaz-Balart, representing District 21, and Art Kennedy, District Chief of Staff for U.S. Representative the Honorable Alcee Hastings, representing District 23. Leslie Vega, Communications Director for U.S. Representative the Honorable David Rivera, representing District 25. And representing the state of Florida, the Honorable Ted Deutsch, representing District 19. Thank you for being here and welcome to you all. Well, let's talk right now about this NAPA law. Linda Bello is the Alzheimer's Association Southeast Florida Chapter Advocacy and Public Policy Coordinator. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I am a committed member of the movement to end Alzheimer's disease. My journey began as a daughter of Alzheimer's, as a caregiver and advocate for my mother Esther, who ultimately died of Alzheimer's disease. Like many of my colleagues, that is why I work in the movement. Today we offer a voice to advocates who speak for themselves and on behalf of those who cannot. The Alzheimer's Project Act is about creating a comprehensive strategy to overcome the Alzheimer's crisis and ensure coordination across government agencies. Alzheimer's disease is the 6th leading cause of death in the United States. Since 2000, the number of deaths attributed to Alzheimer's have increased by 66%, while other major causes of death continue to experience significant decline. If Alzheimer's is not stopped by the year 2050, it is projected that up to 16 million people could have Alzheimer's disease. Again, we have many thanks. Our thanks to the co-sponsors of the bill, to Congress for unanimous passage, and to President Obama for signing NAPA into law. Thank you, Congressman Deutsch, for signing on to all the Alzheimer's legislation that we presented to you. And thank you for representative congressional offices for attending this input session today.
Can you briefly explain the law?
This bipartisan law will, for the first time, provide Congress with information to evaluate our nation's progress in the fight against Alzheimer's. It will accelerate the development of treatments that would prevent, halt, or reverse Alzheimer's. It would improve the early diagnosis of the disease and coordination of the care and treatment of those with Alzheimer's. It would provide for an annual assessment of the nation's progress in addressing this fatal disease. It will have an advisory council on Alzheimer's, research, care, and services composed of federal and non-federal members. It will require the Secretary of Health and Human Services to coordinate with all federal agencies to create policy recommendations and a national strategic plan on how to overcome the disease. Once implemented, NAPA will ensure our nation has what Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius called an aggressive and coordinated national strategy to confront the present and rapidly escalating Alzheimer's crisis. Our job through this input session is to make certain that what people believe are the most important critical aspects of dealing with Alzheimer's disease is shared with those working on the implementation of this integrated national plan to overcome Alzheimer's.
Okay, thank you very much, Linda. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right. All right, in the studio today, we will begin with 4 special guests whose comments, for the record, serve great purpose. Let's start with Russ Belville, retired VP at Siemens International, a husband and father, and now an advocate for the Alzheimer's cause. Russ has younger onset Alzheimer's with us today, along with a growing number of people under the age of 65. Researcher and director of Huntsman Institute of Human Genomics from University of Miami, Miller School of Medicine, Dr. Perchak Vance is the 2011 recipient of the Bent Winblatt Lifetime Achievement Award, presented at the Alzheimer's Association's International Conference on Alzheimer's in Paris. Also with us today, Julia Sosnick, a retired retailer and the wife of a full-time Alzheimer's patient. She's a caregiver for him. It's her husband. She's also the walk team captain of Phil's Elite Friends, raising over $13,000 for the walk last season. And last but not least, Mayor of Miami Gardens, Florida, the Honorable Shirley Gibson. She's a caregiver as well. Her dad suffers from Alzheimer's. Also, her sister is the full-time caregiver of her father. These individuals, like those who recorded a video online or sent a comment by email, have decided to tell their congressman personal concerns about Alzheimer's disease. And by doing this, all are hoping for huge global and individual benefits from the National Alzheimer's Project Act. Let's begin with Russ here today.
I'm here today to talk to you because I am a person with Alzheimer's disease. I have a very simple story of my life. Born and raised Kittery Point, Maine. Had a wonderful childhood. Spent 10 years in the United States Coast Guard. Left the Coast Guard as a Chief Petty Officer. Went to work for the Siemens Corporation. Was very successful with the Siemens Corporation over a period of 28 years. But I had to leave because the thief began to take my mind away from me. I was diagnosed first with mild cognitive impairment. That didn't sound too bad. Anything's mild, can't be too bad. A year afterwards, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. So I had to leave my job of 28 years and start a new life. And that life has been mostly revolving around the Alzheimer's disease, Alzheimer's Association, being a spokesperson for the Alzheimer's Association. Spoken many places, including at our Capitol, with our local elected representatives, in front of many, many groups, and I tell them about Alzheimer's disease. I'm here today because we're here to talk about the NAPA Act. Part of my life, I was a project manager. I was responsible for big international projects and ensuring that everything went well, everything got done on time, and got done on budget. So the NAPA Act has a real meaning for me because this brings the air of project management to addressing Alzheimer's disease. We have a plan, we have steps to take, we have milestones, we have goals, and we're going for the first time, we're going to coordinate all of this activity